Alright, it's March 10th. It's a cold day and we're going to move all of our overwintered nucs into permanent yards. It's time to start splitting next week. We got queens coming from Chris Werner on March 16th, 6 days from now. So we got to get these overwintered nucs off of these colonies so we can split them. We did pretty good. We got most of them through the winter. We lost a few, which is not unexpected because they were pretty small. They were just queen mating nucs last September, and they were just 1 or 2 frames of bees, and they're starting to grow. Some of them are 3 frames now. They're starting to actually hatch brood. They're starting to expand and try to make up for some of those losing some of those winter bees. So we got pallets on the truck to set in a yard so we can establish a yard, a couple yards. They're not, those singles aren't massive colonies, and they don't have to be massive to split. And we're hoping each one will give us 2 or 3 frames of brood and a frame of food to get a nuc box started next week. We got 3 yards we have to go to today to get these overwintered nucs off. That's all of our overwintered nucs are just in 3 yards. I don't think we're going to do any feeding. It's pretty cold, and that's why it's a good day to move these overwintered nucs. There's no bees flying. I don't know what the temperature is. It's probably in the low 40s or something. Ready?
Yes, sir.
Set that on the lid there. I can set this thing.
Oh, okay.
Let's look. I'm just a little nosy. I can't help myself.
Gotta know.
Hey,
Let's
look.
see what's going on in here.
See that white cone?
Yeah, they're full.
Oh yeah. Got some good pollen. They've been making maple pollen and other odds and ends. So that, let's see how many frames of brood are here. We got 1, 2. Look at that pollen. Look at that, my goodness. Okay, so 2 broods, 3 broods, 4 broods, 5 broods, 'and I'll call that a half. That's full of larvae. 5.5 frames of brood. I'd say that'll be ready to split in a week. These colonies are the ones that were in that video, what was it called? Warm Winter, I forget the name of it. We just did it in December. Anyway, these are the same colonies, same yard. So when we split them next week, probably going to equalize this whole yard with about 3 frames of brood. Leave good brood behind, 3 frames, and they should be in really good shape for the honey flow that comes around the 1st of May. They'll have 6 weeks to get ready. And at some point they'll get a 2nd story box full of combs. So looks like we overwintered pretty good here. Okay, I can see the brood. Looks like they got brood on 3 frames. So a little 1 or 2 frame nuc going in the winter. They're coming along. They're going to grow fast. They'll be some of our best colonies in a month and a half. Brand new September queens in the fall.
Good.
Okay, some of these pallets we're going to make into cell builder colonies. We need 20 to start with. So as long as they're good strong singles, I think they'll be ready to start building cells for us in about 3 weeks. I think we're going to start grafting in about 3 weeks. So we're going to put an extra box of comb on them, get them ready to be good strong colonies in about 3 weeks. Let's see how this pallet looks. We want decent colonies. They don't all have to be perfect right off because, you know, there'll be successive rounds of cell building, so some of them will have more time to get ready than others. That one will work. That one will work. So see, that colony, that's going to be a plenty strong colony, I think, in 3 weeks if we give it another box of comb and feed it well. In fact, we'll feed it today, John. Let's get the hose out.
Okay.
That we're doing this to. And we'll give that colony a nice box of comb. And
You want to take some of these foods and move them up?
no, let's just leave it like that. They're going to come right up into this second box. That's a box of food. Here, John, you can start stacking them on here.
Okay.
Okay. I want to feed this one too. Right here, I can see more drone brood down between the frames. We don't like to start grafting until we see plenty of hatching drones. A lot of people say as soon as you see purple eye drone brood that you can start grafting. And that is true, but I think that's pushing the envelope just a little. I like to wait just a little longer, make sure we have big numbers of mature drones. Drones need to be at least 2 weeks, preferably 3 weeks old to be mating. So I think our timing's going to be pretty good if we start grafting in 3 weeks. Okay, let's feed this one too.
Oh, let's look at this one.
Oh, yeah.
That's gonna be a nice pallet for cell building right there.
Okay. That's still a little small, but they'll come along. Actually, one of the reasons I like to use an electric pump instead of a gasoline, and when you're working a yard, the pump only comes on when you're feeding. With a gasoline pump, you kind of wait till you're feeding the whole yard and do it all at once. Somebody asked me, why do we dribble the syrup on the colony before we're done? And it isn't because I'm trying to do anything fancy to the bees. I'm trying to get all the syrup out before I move the nozzle and drip it all over the yard as I move. Trying to get the nozzle empty.
Yes, sir.
Why don't you get that green board there, John? Okay, let's look at this. That's a little smaller. That's kind of a red flag when they're all big and this one's small. Need to make sure they're doing okay. And they are. They're just a little smaller. she's laying it in there, so they'll come along. I love those colored queens, don't you?
Mm-hmm. They're real pretty.
A little harder to find. Oh yeah, look at that. She's doing good. Okay, we have an issue here. It looks like there's the queen. I should be seeing big slabs of brood. Here, Oscar, would you hold this frame? I need to look at this a little closer. Yep.
She not doing okay?
No. Okay, Oscar, let me show you something that caught my eye immediately. See how that cell's protruding, or, you know, kind of sticking out? She's turning into a drone layer. She's running out of sperm. Oh, that looks more like a colony than an overwintered nuke.
Nice.
A little big. Something happened there.
That's terrible, Bob.
Yeah. Terrible problem to have. Push, John, push.
There we go.
Yeah. The bricks don't mean anything. Those overwintered nukes weren't gluing their lids down very well in cold weather, so we put a brick on top to help keep the lid from blowing off. Some people use bricks to leave messages for themselves, and we just use them to keep the lids from blowing off. Okay, so we're setting out those overwintered nukes on this particular spot. We're just leaving the nukes on the double screen boards for now. We'll come back on a warmer day and put them on the pallet clips, feed them. This is the oldest bee yard I have right now. I got this yard right away when I moved to Georgia. As you can see, it's not on pallets, it's on bottom boards. There's no way we could get a forklift into this spot. It's very hilly, but it's a great location. The bees do quite well here. A few interesting things here. You can see some of these bees are actually sitting on a double screen board. That means they came in here in late summer as a nuke that had been taken off another colony, and it looks like we fed them up and got a second box on them before winter set in. And what we're going to do today is kind of equalize and put brood down. This yard is scheduled to be split in 3 weeks, not even 3 weeks now, it's about 2.5. We got queens coming to split this yard. At that time we'll kind of get them down to a certain size, and everything above maybe 4 or 5 frames of brood will go into splits. So right now it's about equalizing, taking the peak off the real strong ones, helping the weaker ones, and basically just trying to keep them under control so they don't start building swarm cells or getting crazy before we get here to split in 2.5 weeks. So
Yeah, I only got like 7.5 frames of brood here in a single. They need to, you know.
Oh, it's a single.
Yeah. 7.
Oh.
And a frame of drone brood. 7.5 frames of brood and a drone brood. No joke.
this colony just barely made it through winter. It's really small, but it obviously has a good laying queen. That's a good pattern, so we'll save this queen and boost it up with brood for from other colonies that are overflowing with brood. I'll put the brood in the bottom box and we'll boost it in the bottom and put this back on top.
Yeah, this one's over.
And we'll find another frame of brood, of preferably hatching brood right there beside her existing brood, and kind of boost this. Hatching brood works best.
They're big, aren't they?
I don't see any reason why we can't take a few frames of brood out of this to boost feathers. It'd be a good thing. If I didn't, this thing would be building swarm cells in 2.5 weeks. So the kind of brood I'm looking for is probably in the bottom. That would be sealed, hatching type of brood. Looks good. So I want to put most of the brood in the bottom box and put most of the empty comb in the top box so the bees have a sense of space above the brood nest. That's the best swarm control we can do right now. Okay. This colony has too much brood in it. I mean, there's 5 or 6 frames down there, and there's another 3 up here. And we're gonna have to take a little brood and donate it to something else that's small, or else this thing will be swarming in 2.5, 3 weeks. Colony in this yard that seems to be a little more aggressive, so John says. So we're saving it for John. It's in his row. He can be the one that works that
I
colony.
coincidentally am always the one that works that one. It's
So it'll obviously get requeened this spring, but for now we'll keep it intact. And I'll be curious to see if it's actually as mean as John said.
I worked it last time for him. It's pretty hot.
It's pretty hot.
I thought they might have calmed down. No, they ain't calmed down none, huh?
Well, John, this is a good lesson in beekeeping. You got to be gentle and quiet, and
Yes, sir.
yeah, no slamming and bamming.
Yes, sir. And try to leave that colony for somebody else.
Okay, that's medium heavy. A lot of brood. Too much. You need 2 frames of brood? Yeah. I got them. That's a good one. It's starting to hatch in the center. All of this stuff is on the verge of hatching, so that's a good frame to give to Jesse. And double check for the queen. Not finding the queen for sure is a little precarious, but we're all pretty decent at spotting queens, so we don't give queens away too often. It does happen, but not too often. Right, John?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I don't.
John doesn't give any queens away. It's starting to warm up, John.
I know.
Warm up. That's relative. It's about 55. All right. This one ain't looking so hot. Let's see what's going on.
He's got 9 frames of brood over here if you need one.
Oh, it's actually okay. But they didn't have many bees in the top bars of the top box, but they got plenty of brood. Don't see any mites, so that's a good sign. If this colony had a heavy mite load, you'd definitely see them in the drone brood in here. You gotta look quick though. They disappear within about 5 seconds. So this is a nice colony. I think it's got a little bit too much to last for 2.5 weeks though. Let's see what we run across next. Well, okay. Hey John?
Yes, sir.
Let's go grab a brood box. We're getting too much. We got too much brood.
Okay, yep.
Told you they were good.
Huh?
I told you they were good.
Yeah, got some good ones here.
Mid-March, you know?
Yep.
Have we done these yet?
Well, let's look at this box, Seth.
Yeah.
We have.
You double check me.
Okay, let's look at this, Seth.
Oh, the brood home.
Yeah. We call, you got it on?
Yep.
Okay, we call these brood hauler boxes. They're just a box with a wide open screen bottom, some feet so that it doesn't sit down and block the airflow. And if it's hot, like in the summer, we'll have a screened lid too. But right now we can get away with a flat lid. We're going to fill this box full of brood and take it on to the next bee yard. We got too much brood in this yard.
Do we have a YouTube video on how to make one of these?
Yeah, Tommy did that.
Okay.
One of our very earliest videos.
Okay.
Yeah, she got this full of larvae. They know what time of year it is. Also, I mentioned earlier in another yard, it's really not a nice day for working bees. These bees are pretty gentle considering it's misty, overcast, it was foggy just a little while ago. Well, this is one of the reasons we're heading towards these Caucasian bees. They're so much more manageable in bad weather.
Question. So these colonies can be okay for a couple, 2 weeks and a half. So
That's about it. We better be back here in 2.5 weeks or we're going to have trouble. This yard was pretty good all told. There was a few small ones, but we're leaving with 20 frames of brood. We had to take it out of here or we would have had swarming before we got back in 2.5 weeks. So the short answer, yes, but no longer.
John.